Puerto Rican kid, bald head, loves snakes, loves Blizzy, Sergio Chaos.
Yeah. What up, Pa?
Peace. Welcome to the DBS podcast. It's your boy Sergio Chaos, aka Blizzy Chaos. That shit whack. I mean, it's always gonna be dirtbag shit podcast. The DBS podcast. Peace and welcome to the DBS podcast. It's your boy Sergio Chaos in the mix. We're here now, the Chaos Show, and I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great. And I'm actually here with a very special guest, the creator of the DBS theme song, the one and only Raffael Deluca.
What's going on, man?
Yo, dogs.
Thank you for having me, man.
To see you in person after that fucking masterpiece you created.
Dude, I mean, I love, making music and helping my boys out, but to be here and, it's a pleasure, man. I look forward to it.
How long did it take you to do the themes, to create the theme song?
So I had the idea for it. So I like most music producers will know, you have like a bunch of unfinished projects that like you don't know where it's gonna go.
Okay.
And like when we connected and talked about putting together something for the theme song, and I was like, I got this beat that I think is cool. It's like it's got a little bit of that like old school hip hop drums in it, but like a little bit of a gritty vibe to it. So yeah, I mean probably like a couple nights.
Wow,
like it was already like worked on.
You said you reached out to me. He slid in my DM, real dirtbag shit. And he was like, yo, I want to create a song for you, if I remember correctly. And I was like, absolutely. And originally, you wanted more, you thought like more of a Latino, like I guess reggaeton.
Yeah, just, going off.
That's how I rolled my R. I said reggaeton.
Yeah.
That's as Spanish, that's as Puerto Rican as, that's the only Spanish you're going to get from me.
Well, today I'm only going with Raffael.
Raffael. That's a sexy ass name. Raffael Deluca.
Yeah,
this motherfucker sounds like he shows up on a white horse. Like.
Yeah. Well, like people like see my name and then I show up. They're like, okay, where's the guy that we read his name?
Yeah, Raffael Deluca sounds like he comes in with black sunglasses on, and he's rubbing his hands a lot, biting his bottom lip.
Yeah. Then they're like, all right, Brad, where's the guy Raffael?
Right.
So, but yeah, no. Originally, I was like, I used to and still do produce a lot of house music, and it was a lot of Latin infused. So I was thinking like maybe like make it a little bit more like throw some salsa merengue into it. But when
that would have been dope too.
It would
I might have to reach out again for once I come on a second podcast or something, because you did such a phenomenal job.
I appreciate
that. I love the fact that you took, I guess excerpts is the right word. You took like pieces.
Yeah, little clips.
Yeah, little clips from the Hyenas podcast. Right. Rest in peace, Hyenas, you dirtbags.
Pour one out for them, fucking morons.
I will talk a little bit about that, because Chris and Yanni are good friends of mine, comics, fucking doing their thing. And Raffael, that's how, like, I guess you were introduced to me.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, Chris and Hyenas, History of Hyenas podcast, I was close with them, and I did a lot of music for them with the podcast. And then, I always knew about you, but wasn't, like, so familiar with it. Right. And then, as you made the appearances and, seeing that you were boys with them, I was like, oh shit. So, I was, checking you out and all that. And then that's how it led to like, then when you said you were starting the podcast, I was like, yo, I'd love to, help you out with the theme song. But yeah, it's a whirlwind, man. Comedy, music, podcast. So
what's interesting is that comics love DJs, and I think DJs love comics. So there's always good energy between the two. Like musicians and comedy, it's always like this real respect between the two.
The one thing I sort of like came up with, I mean, I'm sure other people have thought about it. Well, prior to Chris and Hyenas, I did some stuff with Bill Burr. Like I just, was a fan of his.
Is he your favorite comic?
What's that?
Is he one of your favorites?
He has been since like back in the day, before like everybody knew him. And I would say, yeah, but like it's almost like hacky to say he's your favorite.
I love Burr. I remember, I believe it was his first, remember his first half-hour special was called One Night Stand?
Yep.
HBO.
He had like a blue like collar.
Yes, he had hair.
Button down, yep.
And he had the Olsen twins jokes. And these girls are so thin, they just lean on each other.
Bro, like.
So I reached out to him on MySpace. I was like 6 hours in comedy.
Yeah.
And I said, you're not one of my favorite comics. I missed the word. You're not only one of my favorite comics.
Oh, shit.
And I wrote this whole thing. And then I caught myself and I sent him another note. He's like, I thought I knew what you meant, and we had a good laugh about it. But I said,
cool that he like,
and he was mad cool. And yeah, to this day, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's the, obviously, you got Carlin, Pryor, and, all them back then. But like for our generation that's like, born in the, late 70s, 80s, 90s, like he's the king, and it's.
He's he's just so smart, so aware. I'm impressed with the fact that he could do a podcast weekly on his own,
talking to nobody.
Right, and that's an amazing skill.
It's something about like just this innate talent that I guess some people have, but then also it's something about, maybe this isn't the skill of being able to podcast alone for so long, but just what makes him so clever and quick is like that Northeast, like fucking with people vibe. Like, when you're out with your boys, like I see the videos of you and Chris, like you guys are just like, how quick can I be to like get the joke of like that? And that's like how we grow up out here.
It's true.
And it's like, okay, so he doesn't have like the, the high education and all these grades, but he's got that street wittiness that's like uncanny.
Yeah, he's in tune to what the fuck is going on. That's a great way of putting it. It's like like street smarts. It's like the snaps in school. That's a skill.
Yeah.
To come back and have the confidence to whip it out. Boom.
Yeah.
I mean, the motherfucker was just on Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
And he made fun of Mike Tyson's tight ass jeans. They what, you show up on a horse over here? And then Mike Tyson took that second.
Yeah.
And was like, oh, don't make you're gonna go and make fun of my pants. My wife does that all the time.
No, it's pretty good.
That second was a little bit like the tiger.
Well, you know what it is? It's probably that he's not used to people being real with him. And his natural like default is supposed to be like, oh, don't fuck with me. But he's like, oh shit, he's being honest. It's almost like a sign of respect.
Yeah.
So he's getting the realness. And
it's so true. But also is the timing of it. Had Bill Burr waited 2 more seconds,
he might have gotten a fucking jab or
like
something.
if you think about like an insult too long, people can feel when you wait and you thought it out.
It's like it's that it lost its like sort of the gusto.
Yes,
of it. But back to with DJing and comedians. So it's very, very similar if you really think about it, because when you're starting off DJing, you're just trying to get spots. You'll do it for free. You have bringer shows with comedians. It's like, you could do a comedy set if you bring like 10 people. Same thing with DJing. Then you got your headliners. So you have headline DJs that like travel from city to city. Then you have your opener. But if the opening DJ like bangs out the room and it's like too much, the headliner DJ is going to be like, shit, like this is like not the right balance of it. And I think the same with like comedy, but like it's almost allowed a comedy, because if the guy kills in the beginning, it puts pressure on the headlining comedy, but it's all about like sort of creating and engineering the vibe in the room with the crowd. So it's very similar. And another thing is, with DJing in the beginning, say you're playing like a new sort of room or new club, you kind of put out feelers and you play different styles of songs in the beginning and see what the crowd's going with. And I've never done comedy, but I think it's similar. Like if you're doing a set, maybe you tell some like dirty jokes in the beginning and see that like that's what it goes with, and you're going to go with that. And it's like same with the music. So it's like you could draw a lot of parallels.
Yeah, I can't always come out with the Little John material right off the bat with something. It can't be like that, right?
Yeah,
so
right.
You gotta, ease your way in.
Right.
Put the jab out there, see what's going on.
So, I mean, it's cool to think about, and and it's just like sort of this like little subculture, like misfit, like people that are like, a little bit fucked up in the head, but artistic and creative. So,
who were some DJs that you loved? I used to listen. I got really into him for a while. DJ AM. Did you fuck with him?
Oh yeah, of course, man. I mean, he was like the pioneer, the king of, mashups and like doing all these crazy things in the turntablism.
Maybe I'm not really up on it like that, but he was the only one I knew that did that shit. So you would consider him a pioneer with that stuff?
Absolutely. Like he's respected by, the hip hop guys, the turntablists.
I feel better now.
Guys.
I don't feel like a call boy like, DJ AM, because that was a little roll of the dice. I kind of thought about it. Like, and I was like, is he going to be like, oh, DJ AM? I felt confident sharing that because I never heard any DJ doing that. But you're a DJ, you're in the world.
Right.
But I love fucking music. I don't know too many DJs like that, but he popped out to me.
Yeah, like what he was doing was he was basically treating the record players, the turntables, almost like instruments, and like taking like snippets of songs, like in beat, the technicality of it, but doing things in key, but also making sense. Like, I don't know, like blending like Wonderwall by Oasis with like fucking like, I don't know, like Run DMC or something, but like perfectly.
Remember
and it's like
song,
cool.
Rocking in the treetop all day.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry,
like,
I sang for you guys. And then he blended that shit into like Wu-Tang.
Right.
And I was like, dogs. That is fly right there.
Yeah, and then like that became it became a whole genre of its own, open format, where you're mixing like a bunch of different tempos and styles of music. But he was one of the first ones to do it well, and do it like people haven't heard before. So it's you're an entertainer at the end of the day, like you could like be a snobby person being like, I'm only playing like this or that, but like it's about making people have fun. And it's like you got to put your ego aside sometimes, still staying true to yourself, but like, yeah, I don't know. It's a cool
when
thing.
you DJ, I would imagine the equivalent of someone asking you to play a song is kind of like me after a show. It's like, can you do this joke?
Right.
Can you add that into your little sketch?
Exactly.
You got that a lot?
I mean, I have novels of different things that I've seen in the booth that people.
And let me guess, they were all young white girls who did it.
Fucking pro, like every single one, literally. Or
excuse me, can you play some Drake?
Or some
The
like
Weeknd? Do you have The Weeknd?
Yeah, but like literally, like so some
I've
sets.
been bashing young white girls for 3 episodes.
Yeah.
But I need to cut it out. Go ahead. My bad.
No, it's all right. Be less white, right? So,
can you just tone the whiteness down?
Yeah, I know. Sorry. I mean, if I got my trucker hat on.
I'm just saying.
But you too. Just the world.
Yeah, just the world.
I need a couple more vowels at the end of my last name, but sometimes like. If everyone's like dancing, it's a good vibe, but I'm like, playing stuff that people are familiar with, but also educating them on like, some new stuff, which is, the original sort of job of the DJ was to introduce it. But like sometimes like the party would be rocking and, young Karen, like fucking 19 years old, comes up in the club spilling her, vodka cranberry, asking for a song that like literally is played every single second on the radio. And I would like, one line I would be like, did you drive here? Like, go out to your car, put on, Z100, and it'll be on. You can listen to it.
Have you used that shit before?
100%.
Yeah, you're the man, bro. Because I have like comeback lines.
Yeah.
It's weird
right,
social
so like heckles, right?
But not even like at work. Right. I'm talking about just in life. But I'm a nice guy, so I don't do them. But in my head, I do them.
Yeah.
Or I go to my wife and say, I should have said this. And my wife got to deal with this shit.
The jerk story called.
Right.
But I mean, sometimes like people, the best one is like people would come up and be like, can you play something that we could dance to? And I'd be like, no, actually I can't. I don't really have any like stuff like that. Just to like fuck with them, they'd be like, fuck you. Like, but they're almost like, all right, you got me. Like,
people are annoying.
They are.
Especially
and it's
after
like,
a couple of drinks.
But here's the thing though, like if the party's like, if it's like a random like, set or club and it's dead and no one's really dancing and I'm struggling up there and it's just like whatever it takes, and someone like is like, can I make your request? And I'm like, yes, like something to get like something going there. That was probably more like, my earlier years, but again, you want to make sure the crowd's having a good time. So like if someone's requested something, that's an opportunity to make them have a good time. So one thing I would always respond with, they're like, can I make a request? And I would say yes, if it's a good one. So they're like, all right, I got pressure on me now. So
it's not subjective, though, right?
Exactly. So it's like
a motherfucker like me, I'm from New York. I might be,
right.
After a couple of bumps in the bathroom,
yeah, literally,
and fucking, and warm Hennessy, I might come up to you, and a couple of Coronas, I might have walked up, stumbled upon the DJ booth, and gave you a 5 spot, like I'm giving you an ill tip, and I would have said, yo, you could throw some 3-6 Mafia on there.
Yeah. I mean,
you fuck with 3-6?
Yeah, like they won a Grammy. Oh no, they won an Oscar for the, what was that song? The I mean, I know they had shit.
Hard Out There for a Pimp.
Yeah. But what was that movie? I forget what the movie is called. What's like that like
Hustle and Flow.
Hustle and Flow, with Terrence Howard. Yeah, that was good. But yeah, no, I used to.
I don't trust black guys with light eyes like that.
Right? Too like
those guys look like they'll try to steal your girl.
Because they will.
It's will. Like, remember black guys with hazel eyes are dirtbags. Those guys move on you like this. They move out like, but you know how flies rub their hands? They move like that all day long.
That's like what I should be looking like with my name. It's a black guy with his.
For real.
But you remember the guy that got like arrested, the mugshot like 10 years ago, girl, but all the girls were sweating him. It was like a black guy with like light eyes, and they were like, "This is."
They got away with a lot of bad behavior.
Yeah, he like did an armed robbery and like raped a girl or something. Girls were like, "Oh my god, I love him."
Yeah, So that model hit it big.
Yeah.
He had a tattooed teardrop. My last guest used to have a tattooed teardrop. And he got it removed. I was like, who did that shit for you? Dr. Sismore? Like, what the fuck? But I wanted to ask, yo, what the fuck you did? But I didn't want that shit to be awkward on here. So I just
But wait, I mean, doesn't that mean like that you like, you know, either on purpose or inadvertently ended someone?
Raphael? I'm not going to answer that.
Sorry. No, that was not very Italian of me.
The streets say that if you got a tattooed teardrop, you got a body. You kill somebody.
Right.
Unless he was faking the funk.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm going to text him.
Maybe the guy was in a coma and he came out of the coma and he's like, I got to remove the teardrop.
But it's funny. Tattooed teardrops are one of those things that become fashionable. Like any other face tattoo.
Right.
It's like, where does it fucking stop?
My one friend, his son is in high school. And my friend's like, I got to save up to get him braces. I was like, oh. And he's like, he doesn't even need braces. Like, it's just like fashionable to get braces now. And like, when I was growing up, you got braces.
The fucking fashion trend. I got to overbite. My teeth are always dry.
But like, we used to make fun of people like with braces growing up.
Like metal braces?
Like it's a black guy too, and it's like they like get like braces. They put like the colors in it. It's almost like a fucking trendy like thing that like high school kids. I swear to God. And I'm like, what? I was like, we used to like not want to have that, and it's just crazy.
My memories of braces are the metal ones, and people have Wonder Bread stuck in there, and then you can see the rubber band on the side.
Yes, like that shit. But like, I don't know. I mean, I guess times are changing. But
yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, but it was funny. I read something. I was watching the news, and they found this old like publication from like Buried or whatever, and it said
from where?
That's going to be the punch, but. Basically, it said it was like a magazine or some sort of like newspaper, and it was like the youth of today like don't know how like they don't work hard. They're so materialistic, and they're changing the culture so bad. Like they don't know what it's like to do real hard work. If they found out that was from ancient Egypt, 6500 BC, so it's like that theme and idea has been around forever. And it's like you always
that makes total sense.
And you always feel like the youth right now are like, no, but this is the one that's like fucking crazy.
You know what that showed? That your ass is getting old.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I gotta check myself. There's quite often I feel that way, and sometimes it happens with things I love, like music.
Right.
And I gotta check myself. I'm like, oh no, this music is not for me, and that's fine. Every now and then there's a song that I'm feeling, and specifically hip hop. And I'm saying, this is just not my voice right now. And it's a voice, but then I start with all the old shit. These kids, all they do is drugs. You know what? When I was coming up, they were fucking talking about selling drugs and shooting motherfuckers in the face, left and right. And a lot of this shit was borderline gang rape, like rap and their lyrics.
And that's what you're referring to as like the real
like the golden era, the golden years.
Well, the one difference is how much more like digitized the music has become.
Absolutely.
And the rapping. So like even like maybe the hip hop didn't have real instruments. They sampled real instruments, but you could understand what they were saying. It was clear, it had a message. Where now it's like there's no instruments being played. It's like all, mumble. It's like
it's very driven by melody.
Right.
It's a melody based, thing. And I see, I was being very generous, but now that you took me to the dark side, I'm gonna join you.
Let's get their bag.
Yeah, it's these motherfuckers, they all sound alike. It's like I can't tell the difference between them.
Right.
Yeah, when I was coming up, you had Snoop didn't sound like Biggie. Biggie didn't sound like Mobb Deep.
Right.
Mobb Deep didn't sound like any guys from Death Row. Nate Dogg. We got the Midwest. You had Bone Thugs and Harmony. Everyone had their own individual sound.
The thing probably now is that there's so much, like it's so saturated and there's so much music and competition that it's like, what is selling right now? And that's what we want to do. It's not about like, these like a lot of the new rappers and like the like the pop music. They're not doing it because like they love like that. Like they want to make money. They want to be famous. And it's like, this is the formula. It's proven. Replicate it. Like, and I guess that it works.
It's super fucking hacky.
It's super hacky.
But I'm sure with a little bit of curiosity and enthusiasm and research, there are some banging artists out there. They're just not mainstream. That's what it is. It has
For
to
sure. And like a ton, and like it's good that there's like, you know, you have the internet and all these platforms and things to discover people like that. And I would also be curious to know like how many of these sort of just like pop like stars actually have that real creative like talent behind them that doesn't get to be seen in the mainstream just because it doesn't follow like the formula. Right. So it's like, you know, you're up to the, you know, the record execs of what is going to sell. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
it's a weird thing. I think it's a good thing because I try to remain positive. That's the, you know, there's like a lot of dirtbaggery going on, but I always got to, where's the positive in this? Is that there is a lot of opportunities. The same thing with stand-up comedy. I mean, you being on the other side of it, you must see it. All these motherfuckers who like pop off from a certain, like a 15-second video, that's a real thing.
Right.
And that's amazing to me.
It's definitely, I mean, I don't have to tell you this, but created a whole nother lane, and it's content and people are liking it and they're making tons of money. But like, I guess it's changing the art form because it's like those people couldn't do probably a 15-minute set to a crowd. But it's like, it's just like another branch of comedy, I guess. But like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say that it's another branch of comedy.
Right.
But does this condition people to have a shorter attention span and not really want to listen to a well thought out story? Just like our hip hop artists used to have these stories. No one has stories anymore.
No.
And stories are life. I mean, that's memories. That's important. It's history.
It's like that. It's like a weird like chicken and the egg. Like, did the crowd get so conditioned to want that like quick fix, or is the market, is that what they're giving it to them? So it's like, it's this sort of like give and take that's just perpetuating and evolving to just, you know, cut out all the fat, get right to the point, and it's just, I don't know.
And we're experiencing that with every form of entertainment. With DJing, I'm sure it's being affected, you know, the same way.
Yeah.
In a way that I can't quite understand, but
so
what ways would you say it's affected?
So like the open format genre. So I was always I started off as a hip hop DJ. So like my roots are there, but then I, you know, probably, you know, before it was cool to like house, or, you know, they call it EDM now, but like,
I remember back in my ecstasy days with the
right?
glows that boom, boom, boom. Eyes were big as pennies.
And all that.
Pupils big as pennies.
But
you ever did ecstasy?
Yeah,
it's a fun drug.
A lot. I used to, yeah. There's, I mean, the amount of like the drugs and like just the lifestyle of DJing. So I was DJing 5-6 nights a week.
Fucked up.
Real fucked up.
Yo, you guys. you guys can be really fucked up but still manage to do this shit all night long,
right? And every time you see him kneel behind the booth, that's them taking a bump.
Man, fun.
Yeah, so it's like,
yeah, they got the earphones, you know, wedged in between their shoulder and ear, and they're fucking rocking a crowd. I've never seen a DJ fuck up a set, and I'm sure that happens. I'm sure people get too fucked up.
So it's now that there's so many more DJs, it happens a lot, and it's like the clubs change where they just wanted to make money, and, you know, people, again, it comes with the same thing. People were bored, so they don't want to pay a good DJ to play real shit. They're going to play like a fraternity brother from NYU to come there and bring all his fraternity brothers who never DJ before, and is going to bring 50 people. And they're like, listen, we got to book this guy. He's going to bring 50 people. And I'm like, yes, but he's going to make 150 leave because he doesn't know what he's doing. So it's like,
I've definitely been to parties where the DJ sucks.
Yeah.
But that's not a bomb. You just suck.
Yeah. So like we call it like a train wreck. So like when you're blending two records. So basically you have like two records, you know, left and a right, and you're playing the one on the right. It's at a certain tempo, and then in your headphones, you're listening to the record on the left, and you're adjusting the slider to get so it's the same beats per minute, the same tempo. So then you're gonna like, you know, find it like the one beat and like hold it, and then like at a certain point on the other song, it's like every 32 beats, you start that one, and then you listen to see if they're in sync, and then if it's like too fast, you slow down the record. And then, you know, you slowly fade it in. So like a train wreck is basically like you're bringing that other record in, and it's like doom, 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 doom. Like the kick drums are way off. And like usually crowds don't hear it, but DJs in the crowd will be like, oh, like it's almost
you're in
like
the middle of the crowd like this.
Yeah, you can't go out, and it's like this fucking guy's like a, you know, amateur or whatever. But well, back to like you know, blowing like, and doing people like back in the day with vinyls, they used to put like a circle of blow around the record and just put the straw down, but not move it, and then it would revolve and then go up.
That sounds like a fun thing to do. I've been to a whack ass party one time in a beautiful loft. There was like 6 of us that showed up to the party.
Yeah.
And they built out this big fucking 8-foot mirror and put it down and said, we're going to get high tonight. Yo, this guy had this much below. And they put it on the thing with a big McDonald's straw. And he was like that. Yeah, get it, guys. Yeah. I'm like, who is this cornball?
Yeah, it's almost like you'd rather not do it if it's just like one line.
Yeah,
it's like, dude,
and I was harassing him one out. Like, yeah, you got more?
Yeah,
with a Newport cigarette perched on my ear. You got more?
No, it's the only thing you could think about after.
Oh, it's the worst.
I know. But
the first time I did ecstasy, I was hanging out with my boy, and we didn't have anything to do. You know, like, it was the worst. It was the best high, but I wasn't doing shit. He was driving me around Bay Ridge, and I was just like this. Yo, I love you, bro. But every word that fell out my mouth was like butter.
Yeah.
Any job interview I would have smashed. I would have killed it.
They compare what, when you're rolling on E or Molly now, I guess it's like you just won $1 million and everyone around you just won $1 million. They said that's what the feeling's like. It's like you love it, but like everyone, it's like that energy. So like
I went to the deli and all the lights like shook. It reminded me of the Eminem when you opened his second album. You could tell he was doing a lot of ecstasy because all like the artwork.
Yeah, it was like almost like a hologram type of thing.
And that's exactly how I felt. And it's like early 2000s. I was like, oh, this motherfucker was definitely getting high. And that's the way I felt. And that shit lasted like 4 hours. And then from one moment to the next, the rug was taken from under my feet, and that was it. And then the next time I did it, it was a much shorter high. I was in the club. It lasted like an hour.
Right.
And then it just got shorter and shorter.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Chasing the ecstasy dragon.
Exactly.
But yeah, man, there's, I guess, a bunch of crazy stories. I mean, I'm sure you've had your fair share of wild instances at, clubs and all that stuff.
It was never a good idea for me to get high and do work, to do stand-up. And there was a couple of times where the concoction of drinking and blow would be perfect. But most of the time, I was like, this...
You get suffocated.
Yeah,
you can't talk. And it's like, people are like, what, you do coke? You don't stop talking. I'm like, it gets to a point where you can't fucking talk.
I definitely... thank God it was shorter sets, like 10 minutes. And I was like, this, I'm I'm spending 10 minutes trying to like not reveal that I'm high.
Right.
That's fucking humiliating.
I know it. So, but yeah, I guess those are the younger years.
Yeah.
We could, talk about them on podcasts.
Right. Right. And then fucking loose potential jobs in the future. I'm sorry. Yo, when you told me that you went to school with Mark Zuckerberg and used to DJ some of his parties, how fucking, what was that like? That shit is bonkers to me because this guy looks like, he had the same expression. I can't picture this fucking pale, white, dead-eyed face in the middle of a party like this. This glowing. He looks like a glow stick.
He does. I mean, the thing was, so I went to Harvard. I was a freshman when Mark was a sophomore. So my freshman spring is when Facebook came out. So it was like, it's called Facebook because at Harvard, we have this thing every year where the incoming like class, you get this like book with like the faces. It's called the Facebook. So like that's what they called it. It was just Harvard kids at first were like, all right, this is weird, whatever. And then, they started inviting other schools, and then now they're, fucking being controlled by the conspiracy stimulators or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, so he was in
Facebook's a tough one now.
Bro, I mean, everything's a tough one now with the tech, but it's like, it went from like, drunk party photos to then like old people posting like cat photos to now it's like fucking conspiracy news, censoring, like what the hell? Like, I don't know.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Which, by the way, I just completely eliminated it from my life. Every now and then, I'll drop in and I look in like this, like, oh God, it's a fucking mess in there.
But then you do that, but then you're pulling the shade down further and it gets you hooked because those things are completely geared to get you hooked. And then like at 40 minutes later, you're like, what the fuck? Why am I scrolling?
Yeah, and you feel terrible.
Yeah, it's not a good feeling, but it's like, it's this, dopamine hit craving thing where you like are just sort of drawn to it. And it's, it's taking that step to just sort of like cut it out and kind of fill your life with, you know, more rewarding, I don't know, activities or whatever.
Yeah, it's a very odd thing. What's it turned into? It used to be fun.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, it's a very, what was that documentary that Netflix popped up with?
So it's
The social media.
No, it was the social dilemma. The one that just came out, and basically they explain the back end algorithms about how
They're geared to always sell you
it's
things.
so geared to like basically just get you like they're basically like showing you like this like control room in the motherboard, and it's like this guy's on Facebook. We know he likes you know, pictures of girls on the beach, so we're gonna show him that, and then after that we're gonna give him an ad of an energy drink and like all this stuff, and it's like it's so eerie and creepy, but like it's, you know, it's happening, and it's all to, you know, to monetize that platform clearly, and it's just
They're trying to sell you shit, and
that's all it's about. So like Facebook,
it was quite depressing. I don't know if I even got through the whole thing.
yeah, it's I watched like half of it,
And you had enough.
yeah, it was just like it was almost like, ugh, like
Yeah, also I got it. I was like, yeah, I believe this. And
Yeah.
you know, I believe it, I get it, and I'm kind of done with it. But it does kind of like, you know, give you that perspective where it's like, yeah, this shit is real dirtbag shit, right?
real
here.
dirtbag shit, like, and not the like
Yeah, not
cool
the fun
kind. Yeah, not
dirtbag
the fun-
shit.
yeah, so. Oh man, but this studio's dope, man.
Did you get high with Mark Zuckerberg?
So
Did you that's the type of dude I would suck fake blow to. I'm like, what you gonna do? I'll pop your head off.
So he was in this thing called like a finals club. So Harvard basically eliminated all Greek life like in the 90s, but they have these finals clubs, which are like Yale has their secret societies, and it's just this like, you know, there's like these mansions, like these, you know, rich, elite, like sort of groups. You have to like rush to get into it and accept it. And I grew up like in Jersey, like with Italian family. Neither one of my parents went to college. So I'm up there and I'm like, these fucking people. Like,
You're not buying into that
This is
shit.
not my vibe at all.
Yeah, Italiano. From,
Yeah, like
you know,
I showed about
Jersey.
Harvard, like, and it's just like, what are you doing here? But so basically, I was the DJ for like the one. It was called the Phoenix. Like that was his finals club, and I was like their DJ. So like all their parties where they would like, you know, get, you know, all the girls there and girls from like BU and BC over there. But yeah, I mean, we didn't like we weren't like a, you know, a first name acquaintance, but like he was at all the parties and like, you know, just as awkward and, you know, nerdy as you know.
Well, I think, you know, you even what's his face, Elon Musk. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen him on a podcast or interview?
It's awkward.
It's fucking awkward, dog.
Smart, but like so.
It's almost like too much shit's going on in their brain. That's the trade-off. You can't have it all, motherfuckers.
Well, that one theory is like there's so like much going on, but I think Rogan mentioned it that it's like sometimes he pauses because he has to be like, how do I communicate this idea to this like person that's not
To this
on my
imbecile.
level? Right? Like, how do I translate this into like, you know, fucking like dumb English versus like the, you know,
Yeah.
whatever crazy alien shit's going on in his head? But
Well, he did a good. Well, I think Rogan did a great job with setting him up and
Right.
you know, I thought it was a good. I watched it, but I couldn't watch it straight through because he's very.
it's it doesn't have that like energy like flow to it. It's just like, I don't know. And again, like when you listen to a podcast, you're on the go. It's just-
the pauses were long and awkward. It's like,
Yeah. I don't know, but
and he looked uncertain over there. Maybe there was a lot going on.
yeah, but
Hyenas fucking bought a Tesla.
did he?
Yeah, he got a fucking Tesla. Yanni Dirtbags. He buys a Tesla, does a show at
Wait, so he got rid of the beam?
The
with
Beamer.
with
Yeah,
the pink,
yeah,
the pink.
yeah.
Did he bring the pink license plate thing to the Tesla?
Yeah, he might roll that shit right over. So he has a Tesla. He does a show in fucking in Royersford, Pennsylvania. Which, by the way, this guy Soul Joe is doing a great job
Yeah.
during these times. He got a fucking tent out there. He never stopped the grind, and there's dope comics going up there.
Yeah.
This motherfucker doesn't look up a charging station. So now he's like 10% doing his set, asking audience members,
Really?
hey, does anyone have a charger? This guy got to get his life
Wait, so
together.
did he actually said that on stage?
Yeah, he's on stage.
It's not like a USB. Like
Yeah,
you gotta like.
and one
fucking-
guy's like, I got an iPhone charger. And he got stranded out there.
So he's asking crowd members for Tesla chargers. He also fainted on stage. What else?
Yeah.
I don't know. Apparently he got in some trouble because he like had
Yanni's a naughty guy.
yeah, he seems like not like sort of like more like straight laced, but he's actually the more like wild evil one. Like Chris is just like evil, like crazy in your face, and Hyenas is like he seems like the responsible one.
Yeah,
I think Hyenas' head is way more fucking twisted
dark,
and wild.
Twisted.
But in a clever way, though.
Yeah, very smart, very well-read person.
Right.
And I thought the dynamics between them two for the Hyenas podcast was tremendous. I think it was very, very fun that, the fans adopted the jargon.
Yo, like almost to like a crazy level. But yeah, super cool.
And it came to an end. And unfortunately, I'm good friends with both of them. And it felt... it didn't feel like the right thing from the outside in. But if people need to move on,
right,
they needed to move on. And they did that as clean as possible. And that's fine. And maybe it was the time for that. They ended on a very high note, and they go with their own individual careers. And maybe, in the future they connect again. And,
right.
But I was supposed to do a show with Hyenas in Texas, but that's not going to happen because my mother doesn't want to take care of my kid.
Wait, she doesn't want to what?
I planned for the trip. I hit Hyenas up.
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, Mom, I'm gonna go to. I got some road shows. I'm on the road, Texas." She's like, "Why are you going out there? Who's gonna take care of Charlie?" Isn't Liz, my wife?
Yeah.
Isn't she away that week? And I was like, "Yeah, it was only 2 days." Yes, I just assumed that my mother
send her with Chris and Vinny.
Right. Exactly. They're out in L.A.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because they're going out. He's got like some show going on, but yeah. So Hyenas did Schultz like a week or two ago, and sort of like touched on the the ending and separation. But
how was it?
It was interesting. But Schultz and Akash were like fucking with them, like
antagonizing. They were flaming.
They're like, give us the real story, and Hyenas was like, no, it was it was a good separation. We decided whatever. And like Schultz was like, so one person decided. I forget what was the setup, but Hyenas was like, well, I'm not going to say it. But he basically explained like if the sort of the commitment and desire is not there by one or two people, then both smart people that are in it are not going to want to be in it. So like, let's say only one person wants to be in it, but they should know that they don't want to be a part of something where the other person doesn't want to be in that. So yeah I think it was, I guess they'll set up for their reunion and comeback tour, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see. It might not be that, but it may be that. Who the fuck knows? But I know fans were upset.
But bro, they created like not like a cult doesn't do it justice because that's like a smaller group. They created like an army, that I was a part of initially. I guess I did like all their like music and the spoofs and everything, but like. They didn't only like create a lingo or slang. It was like a language, and it's contagious. I would use it a lot, and like you would notice people in your circle that don't even know the podcast would start saying stuff that like just from you, and it's like such a funny, unique sort of like different.
Yeah, my favorite was clean them out and crack them open.
So crack them open, clean them out, and fumes. Yeah, so like they like. A lot of funny things that I think one or the other of them like had like maybe like as like slang with like their friends and then started saying it and it just sort of took off. But yeah, I mean, definitely a good,
I always like reading the reviews of people who expect like real history lectures.
Bro.
And they're like, this is not a real history podcast.
Yeah. It's like Chris talked about warts on his asshole the whole time, and Hyenas was saying that his dick looked like a pumpkin, baby pumpkin.
I had Hyenas on the pod when we, in the middle of COVID and everything, and he's the type of dude. He is such a he behaves like a honey badger. Like when it comes to food, he'll tear up the food.
Right.
But a lot of times he's laying around on his belly, scratching himself, and just fucking chilling out. I'm like, yo, you're 10 minutes late to the podcast. Your hair is this way. He got a sheet crease on his face. It's like he's been sleeping face down.
Yeah.
And I know you just got off of the fucking tweets.
Yanni long days. Yeah. I mean, he goes in on Twitter and like... 8 out of 10 of them are just like really profound, funny, clever things, and 2 out of 10 are like, yo, Johnny, are you all right, bro? Like, we gotta like,
I agree.
is everything good?
I said, yo, you go to the dark side. You go on some real dirtbag shit.
The dark dirtbag shit. But
I'm like, it's concerning to me that you press send after typing that out.
Right? I mean,
and there's no typos. It's interesting. It's well articulated. Like your point is made.
It's consistent though, so I guess he's not faking the funk. It's just sort of like that's his vibe. He's gonna show up late to stuff with bedhead and just tweet shit and not like proof or not make sure that it's like appropriate or not, and you have to respect that. So like I love his whole style, and it's just
Yanni's a G that way. He's gangster with his commitment to be a dirtbag.
Nah, that's funny though, man. But how was you were out in Arizona?
Arizona, we did a party out there in the middle of the desert. It was fun. The area is vast. People out there not really wearing the mask too much, but it's very open. We had a great time out there. We had 6 sold-out shows in Arizona, and we had a fantastic time. And he's also, Chris is bringing the Mike, we call him the homeless pimp.
Yeah,
and he's filming everything.
He does like all the video and shit, right?
And having that, I'm thinking about in the future, having that in the archives is pretty fucking dope. This footage of all this stuff. And when people see a camera, they don't know how to act. So
right.
it like really gets this energy going.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, like just like even for your own like you want to show like your kids like older. It's almost like a time capsule of like what the world and like the country was like back then, and just sort of like the lingo and slang. Like it's just that lives forever, and it's cool, and it's. Yeah, that's a valuable asset to have with Pimp going around filming.
Absolutely, but although I will say I don't appreciate the comment section. The fans of Chris seem to believe that I have one arm bigger than the other. I definitely do not. I got one finger longer than the other, but my arms are proportioned. They're calling me. They say, "Oh,
really?
The opener, the opener Sergio has one arm bigger than the other." Now they got me in the fucking mirror doing this.
Wait, based on what though?
I don't know.
Like the podcast, because maybe like you're leaning this way. I don't know.
I have no idea, Raffael. Do you know anything about this?
Like your bicep or like the length?
I don't know. 2 comments, and then people were liking it. It was fucking hilarious.
That's actually
what people run with.
Yeah, I don't know though.
Someone said, the comment, people are fucking funny. And one thing I learned about the internet, and there's a lot of funny motherfuckers out there. A lot of corny motherfuckers, but there's a lot of funny. Someone said that my teeth look like cocaine that is roaring to come out of a bag. I'm like, what? And now I'm like, I got a Coke. It's fucking funny.
Bro, like the real big videos or whatever, and you like look at the top comment, like it's so funny, some of these comments, and it's like, I don't know. Like
these motherfuckers are great. Like I wouldn't be able to do that because there's a special way to comment, keep it short and bang.
Right, and relevant to like, it's not like you could pre-craft it. It's got to do with like whatever video or podcast was about, and it's just like, I don't know. Some of them are just they kill me.
Super creative.
Yeah, I don't know though, man.
You used to wrestle.
Yeah.
Where's the cauliflower ear?
So I stopped in 8th grade. So I've lost like 25 pounds too. I was a football.
Wrestling is tough.
So I played football and baseball my whole life.
Yeah, that was very condescending of me. Where's the cauliflower ear, right? Like, I'm judging you.
Bro,
you should have shot back at me. Sergio, you were a boxer. Where's the smash nose? Right? I got a little cute button nose. Oh, let me guess. You were too busy doing cocaine, Sergio, that you didn't show up to the matches.
No, it's all good, though. No, but so, like, yeah, I was football and baseball my whole life, but my dad...
What position did you play in baseball?
Baseball,
if you say right field, Pee Wee League, I know what kind of player you were.
I was shortstop my whole life, and then moved to center field, like, later in high school. I was a speed guy, so, like, my dad taught me all the street smart, and my mom was like more the book smart. So like they both made sure I had like a good balance there. And my mom was so adamant about me doing well in school. I always hated school, but I naturally did well. And my dad's biggest thing was he wanted to make sure I was the fastest I could be. He's like, this is going to open up doors for you. He's like, you have to be able to run faster than anybody.
Speed kills.
Speed. So I was like, before all these like crazy trainings, like all the like the schools where people go to, he had me like going to like these centers to like not only like learn the form, but like all the drills and that. And I was able to be very fast. It helped in sports and like.
What kind of drills did you do? I'm interested.
So like.
I'm going to be doing it with my clients on an oak tree at Central Park.
So literally like just like the very basic ones that you would like see today, like, you know, putting like a belt with like a weight behind you and like the whole parachute, and then just doing a lot of like foot speed also. So like a lot of ladder drills.
Yeah.
And I mean that's more for quickness, not like straight ahead speed. But that was so valuable for football. And then later on, like when you're about to get recruited for college, they look at your 40 time and all that. And I was able to have such a fast 40 that it opened up so many. I mean, fortunately did very well in the games, football, and had great numbers. But it was like that 40 time that my dad was like, "This is going to open up doors for you." So like I had some of the bigger schools like D1, not the big ones, like Rutgers at the time, who wasn't that great, and Boston College also. But then I was like, I want to go to these schools, I want to go pro and all that. And my mom's like, this is great, like this is awesome, but like you might not be able to go to the NFL, and you might have options for other degrees where you can still play football, but maybe if you don't go to the NFL, like in the back of her head, she's like, listen, asshole, like fucking, if you can go to these schools. So like,
Raphael, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. So I could have went to Harvard, Princeton, or Yale with football. I mean, I did well in school, but like with, to play football there. And I like eventually was like, all right, fuck it. Like, I don't have to get like a scholarship to go to like play D1 football like this. It's still D1, but it's like AA. It's not the same. And I picked Harvard because it had the best reaction when I said it to people. That's literally the only reason.
Yeah, it's a big deal. My uncle went to Harvard.
Really?
Yeah, my fucking uncle.
Puerto Rican?
Yeah.
Really?
Puerto Rican. Frankie Sepulveda went to fucking Harvard.
Wow.
Yeah, and then he came out in the newspaper for being in East River on a canoe with weed. So really owned the stereotype of a Puerto Rican from the Lower East Side, but yet he flipped the script by fucking going to Harvard.
Wow.
Yeah,
well,
he
awesome.
was a musician as well.
No shit.
Yeah, very talented.
But yeah, like, Prince, like, they're all like, it's all the same, but for some reason, nowadays, there's like a whole nother fucking, connotation with it, but for some reason, when you say Harvard, it's like, that's like the one. So I was like, I can go there, I'm going to go there. And it's just like, I don't know. It was cool. I was, very fortunate.
You were using that shit as a pickup line.
So, like, when
you trying to get some pussy off that shit.
When you get there, so, like, the one way you could tell someone went to Harvard is, like, when you ask them where they went to school, they say, I went to school.
Yeah, I like the fact that you said Puerto Rican. There was no Puerto Rican.
I was doing the math all in my head. I was like,
You've never seen a Puerto Rican in Harvard?
But not, and I'm like, doing the years. I'm like, because, like, I mean, even though like the black guys, like the Latin, all that, like for the most part, they're like the very. And here's my fucking dig back at you for the cauliflower thing. They're like very, fucking well mannered, esteemed, and but then like maybe they find their roots like later, like junior year, and they kind of act like whatever. Yeah. But like
they're also young people, right? For young people, are always trying to like conform and trying to find themselves.
But this is almost like a sign of respect for you, and it's sort of like where I was from, where like I'm picturing like an uncle that you had, so it's even older than like New York, like gritty Puerto Rican that went there. Like that's awesome for me. That's cool for me. So like I don't know, it's interesting, but like. And then getting caught with a joint on the East River?
Yeah.
To the
on
Charles
a boat.
River?
Not even like smoking on the bay. He was on a fucking boat. It might have been more than a joint, but thank you.
Yeah. It's a couple pounds, but what were we even fucking talking about here?
We're talking about that's the ADD.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I diagnosed myself with that. That's not clinically proven. It's crazy how generous we are with telling ourselves, I have ADD. I don't know what the fuck. Maybe I just can't focus because. I ate lead paint. I don't know.
I'm the same way. Like later, like once I was out of college, I was like, oh, I have ADD for sure. Like because in school, in high school, I remember I used to stare at the clock and I would just wait for it to tick. And I used to try to, in my head, see how good I could count 60 seconds in my head to get the next click up because I was so bored. And I was always hungry. I was like, when is lunch? Like, I'm like always waiting for that to happen. But I'm like, that's like ADD. Like, you can't sit still. Like, you're bouncing around from back and forth. But like back in, like, when I was growing up, people had ADD, like you got Ritalin, like those kids were like the fucking like nutcases were those ones. And it's like, it almost
we're just fucking people who like to jump from subject to subject.
Right, which I think is more of like what the actual diagnosis is. But like I had this stigma, like, because the kids that were like diagnosed with ADD that like were on like Ritalin and Adderall and Prozac were like fucking like bouncing off the walls, like eating like the kid's shirt or something. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see like how many people went undiagnosed.
It's interesting that you excelled so well in school, but then you had like this very creative side. So like, this fucking guy's an advanced human being, good at sports, musically inclined, and book smart. You're annoying, bro.
Hey, I hit the lottery with my parents because like I got such a good balance from them because, my dad was a talented Sicilian from Jersey. You could do the math of what sort of, crew he was running with. And then if it wasn't for my mother, who also came from like the same neighborhood, but was like, we're going to have a family, like drop all that, street shit. Like you are going to be like here. And like, a lot of his family members and cousins were like, look down on him like, oh, you fucking like, like whatever. And now they're all like,
were you ever enticed by that?
So I was so kind of like, I don't want to say sheltered, but like not like as even an option because my mom and dad were so adamant about, through academics and athletics to make that my like, meal ticket or my way for opportunity. But like, you're always interested in seeing like what kind of like life, like, the Italian guys from, and all that. And like, seemed like people in the news and all that.
Right.
But,
it's so romanticized.
For Sopranos and all that stuff, like Godfather, Goodfellas. But it's such, again, that's a great way of saying it. It's so romanticized, but you're only seeing the cool parts. Even like the jail. Even when they go to jail, you get like the private cook, making the like.
Get the pasta.
Yeah, the marinade and all that. But like, they all either wind up, in jail and dead, witness protect. Like, there's no like real like happy ending. And like, fortunate for my parents and my family, my mom was such a like strong sort of like no bullshit, like fuck it, it's family, like blood family, not this like bullshit, like, whatever. And if a lot to thank for her to be able to like keep everything together. But like, yeah,
that's a beautiful thing. It sounds like you have a relationship with your mom and respect, like I do.
Yeah,
like, they seem very similar that way. Was it frowned upon that you wrestled? She probably didn't like you fighting. Or was it different because it wasn't like punching?
So
my mother didn't like me boxing.
Wrestling, she didn't like. Wrestling was the one that she didn't like. So like football, she loved. Like she was like the football manager in high school. My dad was like the star quarterback. She became the manager because she was like loved him and all that. So like she was really into sports and like and all that. But wrestling, she knew that I didn't enjoy it that much. I hated the practices. So like spinning, like the end of practice, like one guy's on all fours. The guy just puts his chest on his back.
Yeah, and
rotating like
it's a very intimate sport. Like you're on top of each other sweating, you get ringworm, fucking taints in front of your face, dirty ass.
It stinks. Yeah. You gotta cut weight.
Cutting weight. People don't understand how cutting weight is like going through heroin withdrawal.
Bro,
I would imagine. I never did heroin.
But like, yeah, cutting weight sucks. But now I'm hearing like these interviews with the UFC guys about like what they do. It's something I've never even thought was like they're literally dropping like 20 or 30 pounds. Like
that's not healthy.
And then like ballooning back up like in a day. Like you
get brain damage that way.
Yeah, like there's like kidney problems. You get brain damage, but like they do something where they like take out all the soda, like water. But it's
they call it drying out.
Right, exactly.
It's crazy.
So I don't know, but yeah, wrestling was tough. But my mom she knew I didn't like it that much, and I was able to do well in it, but I like muscled a lot of guys. So like I was bigger like in middle school, but I was like lean and tall. So but I also like was a bit technical. So I was able to exceed in that. But yeah, it definitely created a lot of good leverage sort of skills. So in terms of like if I had no get in a fight, like my grandfather was a boxer actually, but so like he would always like
what's your favorite combat sport?
Combat like
is it boxing? Is it like jiu-jitsu or do you prefer or just to put it?
It's not that great. I mean, it's combat to it's either boxing. I love the purity of boxing, and I love it because my grandfather was a boxer in the army during World War II, and I got pictures of him and all that. But I do like MMA and UFC. I've been getting more into it and trying to learn like. It's almost like because like a lot of my guy friends like know about it and they're like referring back to other fights and I'm like I don't like fucking like like the big guys.
One thing about MMA, there's less politics involved. Like the real good guys fight each other. I hate that shit about boxing. That the real good guys don't always fight each other when they're supposed to fight each other.
Yeah,
and that's politics. There's like 1,500 different belts, all these different these organizations. Oh, it's disgusting. It's annoying. And we talk about the purity. One thing about boxing, the sweet science is a beautiful thing. That's never gonna die. There's always gonna be a cult following. But similar to comedy, similar to music, things are changing.
Right.
So right now, the attention towards boxing with the YouTubers and everything has shifted. And I think it's good for boxing because whatever the fuck generates money into it. Exactly. Listen, I know what boxers I want to watch. I don't want to tune in. I just don't tune in. Right. It's as simple as that. I don't have to search too much for a good boxing match.
Right. Yeah, I mean, again, it's like whatever's going to make money. It's like even like baseball. They're like, the viewership is way down. They're trying to figure out like what rules. I think like now in extra innings, like each team starts with a guy on second base or something just to speed it up because it's like, you want to keep the sanctity and purity of the sport, but it's like it's not going to be a sport if people aren't, watching it and all that. So it's a tricky sort of dilemma to, cater to everything there. But yeah, I don't know. But the one thing I like about boxing that I almost feel bad, like I kind of like dislike about MMA is that like boxing is so pure that it's like two guys just punching, and it's like it's such a thing where it's like the tougher guy, it's more skilled, like can be like someone's ass, but then it's almost unfair. It's obviously a skill and you have to respect it, but like you could have this like little like kid who knows how to like do like these arm bars and crazy shit, like beat up this like normally really tough like hard working boxer. But again, it's like two different
universes.
Two
different disciplines. In a boxing match, they lose that.
I mean, like so like on a street fight or something like that. Right. So like it's like fuck, like But
yeah, you'll probably never see a street fight between a boxer and a jiu-jitsu guy because those guys don't fight in the street really because they walk around with such a cool attitude like. Yeah, I know.
Did you see that one video? Ass. It was like a few weeks ago. It was like some college wide receiver in a bathroom at some like bar, and him and his boy were like fucking with this kid. They were videoing it, and apparently the guy he was fucking with was like a MMA like trainer, but he looked like this little nerd. So he just like slaps him, punches him, then like suplexes him, then gets him in a rear naked. Then it's like
God.
And the guy was a D1 college football player, like a big dude. Had no chance, and it was just like it makes you like everyone's saying like you see a little bit of those years fucking
yeah, you'll get put on your ass quick fast. These days what you're producing music?
Yeah, so
what's going on?
So I was DJing a lot. I still do a bit, but sort of hung up the cans, as they say, the headphones. And I produced a lot of house music that was that got popular. And for some reason, the music I made got very popular in Eastern Europe and Latin America.
Interesting. So this guy's like Tekashi 6ix9ine with his fucking demographic and following. So without the controversy.
So I would go to like Serbia and like Puerto Rico a lot. So it was cool. But
Puerto Rico. If you call part of Puerto Rico I'm from, Rincon, I'm gonna kick your ass. Rincon. There we go. My man.
So that's like that's more west though. Do you fly into Aguadilla?
I don't know. I haven't been there yet.
Okay.
Probably fly there.
Yeah.
And then fucking take a Toyota up those swirly ass mountains with no barricades. I'm about to kill myself.
What was the one place I went? Cerro del Nandi or whatever. You go up there, they like fucking serve you like barbecue, like bunnies or rabbits or some shit.
Love that shit.
Everyone's playing dominoes. Anyway, but yeah. So I was producing a lot of house music, but then also met up with a guy that was producing a lot of music for TV shows. So basically, like the way it works is. A lot of these reality shows, they don't want to pay the licensing fee for like music on the radio because it's just like little like background music. So they'll, hire these companies to get like just a folder of like just beats. And I was able to just like crank these out like no problem. And the majority of the music you hear like on shows of like Real World or like the Kardashians are like stuff I made like in my like bedroom in my underwear, just like fucking around. So like just the little like background beats. So that's like what I do a lot. And you get royalties from it. It's not a lot, but like the thing is that every time it airs, you get money from it. And the key is is to get on like episode 1, 2, or 3, because every time they air a new episode, they usually do like a marathon where they play everything. So you know that song's going to get played every week.
Oh, wait. So you're sitting in your pajamas? Like, give me that. You're looking out the blinds like that for the mailman.
Yeah, exactly. So you get the royalties there. So that's
great.
That's something that I could do, you know, even when, you know, have the family and, you know, you're not in nightclubs every night, that you could, you know, just do to sort of get some, you know, little side hustle.
You're multi-talented dude, man. I appreciate you, man.
Likewise.
You know, we're going to wrap this up because I got a 1 hour a lot of time. It's not my fault you came in late, Raffael. You're the man. I really do appreciate you, man. I think you're an interesting dude. The fact, he's responsible for the Hyenas podcast theme music, my podcast theme music. Which other ones? Was there another one that you did?
Some other one, some smaller ones.
Chrissy Chaos.
Oh, Chrissy Chaos.
Yeah,
that Chris's new one. And then the shittiest reality TV shows that you could think of.
Yeah, but you know what? He's collecting those dividends.
That's what it's about, kid.
But man, thank you so much.
I appreciate you having me here, man. Fucking love
how can people like reach out for you if they have any questions or want?
Yeah, so it's I mean everything just Raffael Deluca. It's 2 F's, so Raffael, then Deluca.
Yeah, let me tell you, this motherfucker has a real life. I try to book him for the show. He doesn't check his Instagram, so good luck.
I've tried to.
That shows that things are going well in his life.
Right?
You're about to get married, right?
Yeah. Was it going to last year? Then
okay, because it sounds like you just really like, we just broke up 2 hours ago.
No.
Start crying. That's a whole other episode.
No, that's episode 2 because we'll talk about the hoax pandemic last year. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, congratulations to you guys.
No, I appreciate it.
But the COVID kind of fucked that up.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah. It was booked for like October. Then I'm like, there's no way.
You know what,
like,
man? A smaller wedding might be better, but you got Italians.
That's the problem. It's like, do we have the smaller one? But it's like we have the Italians, and it's like, do we want to make money at the wedding? Because we got to invite all my dad's cousins. Like my parents.
I got something for you.
Yeah, like but literally an envelope. My parents' wedding, they opened up envelopes to pay the band to stay later. Like they were just like that's how it was. So.
Yeah, you gotta love that Italian culture. Man, the food is banging at an Italian wedding. Yo, I don't know who gets the cake, but every Italian wedding I've been to, off the hook. The food banging, festive, fun, but also Indian weddings.
Bro,
Indian weddings might knock you out the box, Pop.
Indian weddings are like, it's like a fucking week-long festival where people are showing up in like shimmery dresses on elephants and like fucking like a dance troupe.
There's fires.
Yeah, bro.
In random places.
It's like not even fair, but yeah, they
might knock you out
weddings.
the box on that one.
We'll give it to them. We got them on food though, for sure.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I love my Indian food, but Italian takes that one.
No contest, man.
Well, that's it, man. Another episode in the books. Raffael, I appreciate you once again, brother. I hope you don't mind touching my weird ass finger.
Nah, man, I feel connected to you now, bro. So good shit, man.
But yeah, we're at the B Frank Network, Sound Lounge Studio, DBS Podcast, aka the Chicone Show. Appreciate y'all. Tune in, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. We out. Peace.